Wonderful.
Hello and welcome to the Queerlina Queer Vision podcast. I'm here with the co-founder.
Hi, I'm Becca.
I'm Coe, the other co-founder, and then our lovely
Megan.
Our lovely Megan, who is one of the writers on the Queer Vision. So today,
And your unpaid personal assistant.
And my unpaid personal assistant, yes. No. Today we sat down with Bree, who is the maker of MarsMadeCrochet, to talk all about gender and being queer in the South and their crochet business. So yeah, if you want to hear about that and hear about some cool queer shit, then keep listening or watching.
Or both.
Definitely
both. Yeah, we apologize if their audio is better than ours. They had like a microphone.
They
did. It sounded really good.
We're unprepared.
We tried.
Figuring it out.
We're
Yeah.
But enjoy the podcast.
Enjoy
us talking to Bree. They're cool.
And each other.
Yes.
Not only getting.
Well, we're so excited that you decided to sit down and join us and talk about everything.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
How's your Monday morning going?
Pretty good. I woke up a little bit ago, so I'm just starting my day. It's a good way to start my day.
It is super early.
For real. It is early.
It's 10 o'clock. Well, I woke up at 7, so...
Yeah, I woke up at like 8.
Already this long.
What time do you normally get up?
On Monday through Friday, 7.
Oh, okay.
So we all have ADHD, so this is going to be chaotic. I don't know if you have ADHD.
I actually just got diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay, word.
I know. Yeah, I started going to a new therapy office, and I was talking to my psychiatrist, and she was like, the stuff that you're talking about as anxiety, I actually think it's ADHD. And so we went and we did the testing, and she was like, yeah, it's ADHD.
That's exactly like kind of how it happened to me too. Like I had ADHD, but then when I went and got treatment in outpatient therapy, they were like, all these things that you are listing sound more like unmedicated ADHD to me.
And it was so weird because I was like, I've never thought about it being that way. And then I was like, wait, this makes so much sense. It was weird.
It really does. And like for me personally, getting on meds, like that was the one thing. It was just like weird, the difference in my anxiety levels. And it really made me realize how much like that anxiety was caused by like the ADHD.
It's weird because for me, it was like a time thing. Like I would like time crunch everything, and it always felt like I had to be like so specific with things and my plans. And then it was like, oh, no, I don't have to be. It's so weird.
Like they thought I had anxiety or OCD. And then I was like, maybe I have that so I can cope with the fact that I need to be organized for life to do life. But my brain can't organize life, so I just got extreme anxiety and OCD so that I could force myself to be organized for life.
Yeah.
Just took a Vyvanse. Maybe I would be fine.
I guess that's also like a good segue to like talk about your business a little.
Yeah.
And like, how do you feel like you're okay? Y'all are looking at me like, how is that a good segue? But I'm intrigued of like the intricacies because as someone that has ADHD and does a lot, like how that you feel that plays into like the stuff that you do with like your crochet business and everything, and how you feel like is that a difficult thing to navigate for you? Do you feel like it works with the kind of work that you do?
I feel like, so actually, if I'm gonna go back a little bit. So growing up, my mom has her own business, and she travels for work. So as like I was little, she was always making me work with her and, trying to like raise me in a more professional environment. And so I think the thing that was kind of hard but good for me when I started this was like staying committed to making like my creative like pieces for myself and for other people, and doing that in a good balance. But then also like I feel like I don't have to like think about like reaching out to people or like talking to people because of that, just because she really helped me with that. So I think it's more of like a technical side of things, like organizing it is what's hard for me. But like I'm excited to go out and talk to people. I'm excited to like do things like that. So I think that's more of what I kind of like struggled with starting it up.
That's awesome though, that you were like able to be I don't know. I know like being raised in that way has to help like a lot, especially like with the socialization piece, because you didn't have to like learn how to re-navigate, you know?
Yeah, I
Which,
mean, it was always like whenever we would be out, she'd be like, okay, you shake their hand and you look them in the eye and, you need to be, XYZ. So it always helped. It definitely helped me, I feel like, only with this because it was like kind of a different piece with other people. But it's still, it really did like help me a lot. I'm grateful for it.
So have you like always done this? When did you start your business? What did you do before it if you did?
So I actually recently started the crochet business. Before crochet though, I did digital art. So I'd say maybe in like 2019 going into 2020, I started doing like commissions for digital art, and like traditional art pieces. And I did that for a really long time. And then eventually, I went to cosmetology school. I moved up to Raleigh, and then I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like it was something that I was doing, and I was like, this just isn't something for me personally because I felt like digital art and creating that kind of more of like a, I don't know, I don't know how to explain it, kind of that like tangible piece of myself was, I feel like, just for myself. But then when I started crocheting, it was like, it felt more easy to make things for other people because it's really relaxing for me and it's kind of therapeutic. But then, you sit down and you make all these things and you're like, what do I do with this? Like there's so many things in my home. What do I do with these? And so then it turned into like me giving crochet pieces away at like work when I worked at Big B. Like I gave Megan pieces of my crochet stuff, and then it was like people were telling me like, oh, you could sell these things, you could make these things like for people. And so right whenever you invited me, Koi, to go and hang out at the event and vend, that's when it really like started becoming a little more serious. It was serious before, but I'd say I'm still a baby in this. It's been maybe like a good like 6 months.
work. I love that though, like because like us still being fairly new too, it's nice. Like I feel like there's so many new queer artists and just in all the like scenes right now. Like it's
Mhm.
just like a new budding generation. So it's nice to like it's nice and interesting to see how as a society like that happens in waves, you
Yeah,
know?
and it's like also I was talking to Tia about this actually. It's really encouraging seeing other people that are also queer or just also like in your age bracket, your peers. Like it's really affirming to see everybody else doing something and everybody else benefiting in it in their own way. And it's like we're all lifting each other up. It feels very affirming and it feels like, I feel like I can push towards it and it's not an unattainable goal. And it's really, really affirming.
I would agree.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
I think I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say that like, I think like that highlights why we honestly wanted to start this in the first place. Like, because I don't think we realized how many people were out there that just like needed community
Mm-hmm.
to feel like they were actually being able to do something. Like, this is good to hear.
And not just community, but like a straight up vendor space.
Yeah.
There's
Mhm.
like craft fairs and things that happen, especially in like the summertime, but like wintertime, you know what I mean? Or just like getting in like the bar scene or like selling specifically to queer people, which obviously queer people love a craft fair.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's
For
also,
real.
but also like conservatives love a craft fair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My mom loves a craft fair. And, she would still buy your things, even if you had a gay pride flag there. But she would just like rush to buy it. She'd be like, oh, I really like this hat. Like, I'm going to hurry up and get it.
Get out. Yeah.
Whereas like you want to be in a space where like you're able to be like very proud and prideful about being a queer business.
And comfortable being.
Yeah, and comfortable being yourself so that when Brenda walks up to the table, you don't have to be like,
which face do I have to put on today?
well, yeah,
Yeah.
I have to mask myself now because now there's a Trumpy at my booth because they just want my product.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose business, but at the same time, unmasked, yeah.
It's like I want to be myself. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And like on that too, it's so interesting. Even like when we first started this, we were like, oh, like we'll have like one artist, one business a month, like that'll surely like cover it. And then it's like, I think we even in our own, like, you know, the heteronormative conditioning of society and all that bullshit, like we even didn't realize like there are a lot of queer creatives
Mm-hmm.
that are in North Carolina and in this area. Like it's actually kind of insane the amount of people that we've had like, hey, like I'd love to sit down and interview, like I'd love to work together in some way. It's just been remarkable.
It
And it's a
was it was really refreshing actually when I moved to Raleigh, coming from like a small town, because growing up, I was always very closeted, and to be completely honest, I'm still kind of closeted just within my family. But you know, I was bullied because everybody else around me knew that I was queer before I knew I was queer, and I was like, "What the hell's going on? Why are everybody? What's going on?" And then I moved up to Raleigh, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can be myself." And it was like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. And it's like, I feel like I'm finally like surrounded with like-minded people who understand me, and like that helps me throughout my business and throughout my journey as a person, because it kind of helps me gain more of that deep understanding that I lacked growing up in that small like area, you know, that conservative mindset. So,
Yeah. I relate to that a lot, and I know honestly maybe all of us do. I know definitely Megan did, and like yeah. So I mean, I grew up in Northeast Tennessee for the majority of my life, so I never saw myself coming to North Carolina. And when we first moved, I was like, North Carolina, like, oh, I want to go to New York City.
yeah.
Uh, but there's actually just it was I was so shocked to see the amount of queer people and like-minded people just in like everywhere that I went.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, where did you, if you don't mind me asking, where did you grow up at?
I grew up, so I was still in North Carolina. I grew up in Goldsboro. It's like an hour away from the beach. It's like,
Yeah, I know where it's like 30 from here where we're
yeah.
at.
Yeah, because are you guys in Smithfield right now? Yeah. Yeah, no. It's interesting down there.
But I also think that's so important. Like that, we're in Smithfield right now. Like we're trying to base this almost out of Smithfield, which is because you don't want people like the queer kids in Smithfield to be like, oh, I grew up in Smithfield, so I had to move to Raleigh just to feel safe.
Yeah.
Like, what if you could just feel safe everywhere?
Well,
That's the norm. That should be.
some people don't have the feasibility to like get out to Raleigh for all these events and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Like,
Mhm.
Or like park in downtown.
Yeah.
You know, or like
Yeah, downtown parking is insane. Mm.
it's just like going to Raleigh is like, oh, now I've got to spend gas to get to Raleigh. Now I've got to park to stay in Raleigh. Now I've got to pay the cover fee to get into the door.
Mhm.
And, you know, it's like some people would just rather take the drive to Smithfield to park for free to go to a drag
Yep.
show.
Yeah. And also like the drive up to Raleigh, like, because it's like from, let's just say Goldsboro, even from the beach, right? It's like back road in Smithfield, and then all of a sudden freeway. And a lot
Yeah.
of people aren't used to that. And then, like you guys are saying, I have to park downtown, I have to pay gas. It's a whole thing, you know? It's a big thing.
it is. And traffic sucks.
Real. So, I guess on the also a good thing that we didn't even think to mention. So, what are your pronouns? How do you identify? How would you like to? Would
If
you like
you
to
want
share
to
any of?
answer.
Yes, if you want to answer and you would like to share that
The
with the
default could
audience.
just be the pronouns if you don't want to answer.
So I actually just go by they, them pronouns. That's what I've always been more comfortable with. And my name is Bree. That's my preferred name. And yeah.
Period. Awesome. So I guess another thing, a good thing to ask, like what made you want to start like crocheting? Was there something that like inspired you specifically? Did you just have
I've always really been interested in like textiles and like fiber arts and stuff like that. Like I I will blame a little bit of it on like that 2020 like TikTok trend. Like everybody's getting into a new hobby, and then like the cat hats blew up, and that was a whole thing. But I didn't really even start crocheting then. It was like I was in a really rough time. I was kind of coming back and forth between Raleigh and Goldsboro still. And when I would stay in Goldsboro, like with my granddad on the weekends, because his leg was amputated, maybe 2020, so I was helping him and I was staying with other people. Um, that's really when I started, because I was like, I just need something that I don't have to think about. I can just sit down and like watch something and that be it. And then it became something that was like, I can be creative with this. Like, I'm not, because people were being like, oh, you're like you're a grandma crocheting. But it's like, no, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this, and I can do really fun, creative things. And it just kind of like became, I don't know, just like a hyperfixation into like a real like full-time hobby for me,
Yeah, I love that. Because that's definitely how I feel like it happens, for a lot of people,
Mhm.
especially with the arts and creative endeavors.
Yeah, it seems like your passion is for the visual arts. So it's just like you found a new medium. Like you have a very flexible medium,
Mhm.
but your passion is visual arts. And I
Yeah.
love my religion.
you
And
know.
Do you have any of your stuff like in your room that you could show us?
So I actually sold most of my stuff here's my cat.
Yeah.
I sold most of my stuff when I was at that event. The only thing I have right now is this little guy. I'm working on him.
I love him.
It's
is
actually a birthday present for my coworker right now.
is that from something? Or
He's
am I
from Final
tripping?
Fantasy. He's a chocobo.
Yeah, it was from Final Fantasy, but then I was like, maybe I'm wrong, and I was not confident enough to say it.
No, you got it. You did it.
So cute. Yeah, I'm like, I should have brought my hot dog that you made, and that whole.
Yes, I loved that. I saw that on Instagram and I was like, oh my God. It was so cool. It looked really good.
Thank you. Yes, it looked really good. Thank you for doing that. And
Yeah.
Did you even tag her?
yes, I tagged her.
Okay.
Don't tag
Tag
them. Shit,
Jesus Christ.
you
I'm
got me
sorry.
too.
I didn't even make it to your table. I'm sorry. I was trying to make it to everyone's tables. I think I saw you for like 2 seconds, but I'm excited to see the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, no, you're all good. So we were trying to stay for the whole time because I wanted to like sit and like actually like interact with everybody. And then it got to a point where I couldn't feel my feet. It was so cold. And I was like, we didn't eat either before the event. So I was like cold and hungry and I was like, I need to go home. I was so like emotionally like I did not prepare myself. But I'm definitely excited for the next event.
Yeah, but this was like one of your first
Yeah.
like big vendor thingy. Well, it wasn't even that big, but like vendor thingies, right?
It was my first. And I think it was actually like it was very big. It was very like it did very, very well.
I'm glad you sold your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I was worried. I was like, it's so cold out there. I wonder if they're going to get like enough foot traffic,
No, yeah. I mean, I had a great time talking to everybody that came through. Like I feel like I had a conversation with almost everybody that walked past. And everyone was so nice. It was just a great time. It really was a great time.
Yeah, we hate it. Like, I really did want to get out there more and like see people. So I think that's something to keep in mind with like future events, how we are able to coordinate and go out there and interact with the vendors as well and check up on them.
Mhm.
Because we're still learning, of course.
We are. And we also talked about doing stuff inside. Hopefully, if we could find like an indoor venue where like you guys could be like inside with us.
and not freezing out.
Yeah, not freezing outside or like burning up outside. But then also like
cold.
but then also so people can see you while they're watching performers too, like
Mhm.
or like between performers, because I feel like that was stilted a little bit. Like it was kind of stuck with like before intermission and after. Like it was less during the performances, but I'm glad that you had a good experience for your first time.
Yeah, it was awesome. It really was. I just wish I could have like gone inside more and, come back and forth. My partner was there with me and every time I got up, he was like, "How do I work the square reader? How do I do the Venmo?" And I was like, "It's okay. It's okay. I promise." So next time we go, I'm gonna like give them the rundown on how to do it so I can get up and actually move around some more.
Okay, now
You take
I
over.
have questions. Okay, so we've asked you a lot about your business, but like, what do you feel like? Like you've mentioned like briefly that you weren't like entirely out, which we can like all relate to and like family. But like, what is in a positive note? Like, what's your favorite thing about being queer in the South, or just your favorite thing about the South in general, aside
I
from homophobia and small.
it's really hard because growing up, my mom is like really the only open-minded person in my life politically, as like between each other as a people, understanding of of me and other people, but my dad growing up, I was in a Christian school from kindergarten to my junior year of high school. And most of my social events were church on Sunday, church on Wednesday, and if I wasn't doing that, it was church on another day. It was something having to do with that. So I would say most of my positive experiences now in my life with the South and being queer is coming up to Raleigh, because nothing really worked out for me down in Goldsboro where I could tell people, and anytime I did tell people, it was just like negative. But really when I moved up here, and I started working at Big B, and I met Danny, I met Gray, I met Kayla, all my friends. That's when I realized I was like, I don't have to hide. And I remember being so afraid. I was like, I'm non-binary. And everybody was like, okay, we love you. Like, I'm like, Danny was like, I'm non-binary too. Gray's like, I'm non-binary, and I was like, oh, I don't have to be afraid to tell people who I am. And now it's like I feel more empowered every day that I live here to like just be honest about myself, because I like through my friends and through other people I've learned that I don't have to be afraid, and I can stand up for myself. And I've definitely like throughout my time in these past couple of months, anytime that somebody like misgenders me, or I go somewhere and people, don't know who I am, don't know my pronouns, don't know how I identify, I don't feel afraid to tell them, And I think that like doing work with y'all and like being around my friends here, those are my positive moments right now, because I'm still growing a lot of them.
And that kind of like has a segue for me that came up was like, I'm interested how you feel like navigating within gender norms, and like if you want to talk about that at all. I know that's something that I am always like evolving in and struggling with and figuring out, and it's so hard. I know it can be hard to like really conceptualize, but I don't know if you had anything on that you would feel comfortable sharing or talking about.
So I actually have a lot to talk about with that. I work at a video game store now. I am a female presenting person to most people. And I feel like working there, I deal with like a lot of like sexism and like misogyny, and it gets to a point where it feels like I have to be a woman. Like that's what it feels like. I have to be this female presenting person that people view me as, because they won't get it either way. And it's very like that can also be very discouraging, and that's really hard to navigate, because it's like you'll have like, I don't know, 4 customers in a row that come in and they, they're like, I want to see the male coworker. I want to talk to the male coworker. I don't need to talk to you. And it's like, okay, all right. And so then, when somebody comes in who's not being that way, it's like, how do I present myself to you? Because I don't know what you're going to view me as. And that kind of sucks. And that's like weird to navigate, because then it gets into like my personal life outside of work. And it's like, well, how does everybody view me? Am I androgynous enough? That's like a big thought that I have. You know, am I fitting this thing that I'm calling myself? Because I feel like a lot of the times people won't believe me. And that's really hard.
I will say, even though I totally just did misgender you not 5 minutes ago, when you just said like I have to present as a woman, I was like, Bree's not a woman. And mentally, I just thought, what is Bree?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Who's this woman that we're talking about? I don't know. I don't know a woman.
But that's how I want everybody to view me, because like so like when I was, baby, like maybe like 16, 17, maybe a little younger, I was identifying as a male. And like that really felt odd for me, because it was like I do feel masculine some days. Some days I feel feminine. Some days I don't feel like anything. And it was like, I like my name. I feel like Bree is perfect. And so after a while I was like, I had a conversation with my mom actually about this when I finally did come out to her. And I was like, I don't want to be anybody else. I just want to be Bree. That's who I am, and that's what I am. Like, nothing else needs to be said about it, And that's just what I want. I'm just Bree.
I think that's like the beauty of queerness as well. And I say queerness instead of like gayness or anything else because like the word queer within itself, I feel like implies more free flowingness. And I think it's so beautiful how there's so many different trans people under the umbrella, you know, like non-binary people, genderqueer people, gender fluid people. And I definitely also relate to you a lot in that feeling like, oh, I have to fit one cookie cutter version of like a gender. Like that's something that I've definitely struggled with and still struggle with a
Mhm.
lot. You know,
Yeah.
from I know when we first met, I'm pretty sure I was more masculine presenting at that time. Um, and went by like my dead name. And so then I was like, okay, well, I do feel feminine sometimes, and I do feel feminine some days, and I like dolling up. So let me just transition and see what that's like. And I don't regret it at all. I did just recently go off my hormones, um, but I don't regret going on hormones. I don't regret transitioning, changing my name. But at the same time, like you even said, it didn't feel like the whole story for me.
Mhm.
And anytime that I've tried to put myself in one of those boxes, it never feels like the full story. Like it doesn't always feel awful, but it's also like, oh, I feel like every day, like I'm trying to now, like, I don't know what the right word is, but navigate or like play to like what someone else expects of me.
Exactly. Yeah. And it also like when you put yourself in those boxes, it's almost like I feel like I can't grow. I feel like I can't be what I want to be because like to me gender isn't anything. You know, it's just like this is what it is today, this is what it is tomorrow, this is what it's going to be because this is who I am. And it doesn't have to make sense. Like I don't have to make sense to other people and I don't have to, you know, put myself like you're saying in this cookie cutter because I think that these people that don't even know me are going to view me a specific way, you know.
And it really is like letting go of that and breaking down that, I don't know, like box that's in your mind that's like, oh, I have to stay in here or here. And it's difficult. So I applaud you as a fellow gender person. I don't know, non binary, gender queer, whatever the fuck.
Mhm.
Like gender in general is just like we talk about this all the time. Is like the ocean, or like how you present in gender in general is just like the ocean, and everybody wants to put it in glasses. And originally we had 2 glasses, and now they're like, okay, let's add a third glass, and a fourth glass, and a fifth glass, and a sixth glass. Maybe it's just the ocean.
Yeah.
You can't fit it.
Maybe
Like
it's not-
listening to you guys talk about it, like I mean, I'm a cisgender woman, but like at the same time, it's like I have felt a lot of times where it's like I'm not girly enough. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
Mhm.
feminine enough. It's like I'm also putting myself in that box, and like obviously it's not even close to the same thing, but I can see the effects in other people in my lives where it's like they feel like they have to be hyper feminine, hyper masculine to
Mhm.
match other things because they're not comfortable with something, and society is literally telling them they have to be this person. And it's like you would be so much more if you would let yourself out of that box and like
Mhm.
be okay with being seen as a little bit more masculine today. Like, who cares? Like a little bit more feminine today. Who cares? It's
That's
not the end of the
yeah.
world.
And
Like
that's the thing
Yeah.
too is it's all societal. And
it
if
is.
we started over, if we started the human race over again, and everybody was just humans, then even cisgender people would not worry about gender at all.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if we started over, we're just like human blobs of
Human block.
we're just blobs of meat soup.
Yes. Yes. We figured it out.
I understand that's a horrible way to put it, but like
That
if
was
we started
disgusting.
over, we're just like
We are.
beings.
We are who we are. Yeah.
But and there's just like I know it's
Like,
horrible.
that was so
But there's just like there's no other way to put it. Like if we started over, no one would feel the gender norms, and so even cisgender people would be like, "What are you talking about?" If you tried to tell someone in like this alternate society where there is no gender, like
Mhm.
you are gender, they'd be like, "What? Are you
What?
yeah, I mean it's literally gender norms,
It's
but
all
they're
made up."
for gender roles so that society can have
Yeah.
these easy boxes, but they don't work.
Well, and
They
it's
lit-
it's also crazy because I like to talk about this a lot because I kind of realized this a while ago, but it even goes down to the marketing that we have in our stores, like female razors, male razors, you know, different types of shaving creams, toothpaste, deodorants. Like it's just like why? Like if I'm
Wipes.
gonna get deodorant, I'm just trying to not be stinky, you know?
Wait, last
But
thing that you
I said if I'm trying to get deodorant, I don't want to be stinky. Like I'm not trying to think about what I want to be, you know? It's just like a deodorant.
yeah,
But
It really is crazy. And like that also gets into like the pink tax and like the markups of like more feminine products.
Yeah.
And then you can go into like, you know, back into once again like the feminine beauty standards and like the need to try to do that.
Sorry, my alarm's going off.
You're good.
I don't know why it was set.
Bree, wake up!
I'm awake. But yeah.
But yeah.
But also, the fun part about that too is that gender, we've spent a lot of time talking about it now, is that like we want gender to basically just like let it be and like stop presuming people based on gender, because when you take it all away, even though we're giving it a lot of space to talk about it now, then we don't have to talk about it, and you can find out that there's a lot more interesting things about human. There's a lot more interesting things about Bree than their gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
crochet little roly polies.
But then again, it
I
also
love-
brings it to what gender norms are and why they're there, and it's all about control. So it's like societal control.
Yeah.
So this is the fact that you guys exist and you are figuring it out and basically fighting against the gender norms is in itself just a resistance in its own against, I want to say propaganda, but that's not the word. Control.
I'm just like gender. I don't know.
Yeah.
That just made me think like of a shirt. I'm like gender warrior. Like I don't know.
Oh my god, yes.
What.
I'm sorry, that's millennial core.
We'll put it in the millennial
my
core.
God.
We now have a millennial core section to represent Rebecca.
Oh my god.
Not just me.
And
Not
the other fellow millennials.
We also have an identities section.
We do.
Where you can say your pronouns or say queer.
Here came the plug.
I probably want the shirt that says queer.
Mhm.
I know, right? It's really
Pronouns scare me because of that like fight. Like, because I also feel like gender doesn't exist. So I'm like, but if I went by they them, then I'd have to like argue with people, and I don't want to do that.
Mhm.
Which is so stupid. Just like you even said, like
stupid.
no, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm stupid.
Yeah, like having, like you even said, like having to owe androgyny to anybody. Like,
And you work in a video game store. I work in a kitchen, so it's like really like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell. Sorry, line cook. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
them. It's not gonna work. Like, I'm not doing that.
And it feels like a fight that like I'm never like neither parties are gonna win. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm not gonna tell, and excuse me, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm not gonna tell old dude that lives in his mom's basement that I am, you know, who I am. He's not gonna care, you know?
Yeah.
He's just gonna fight with me. So
It's not mean if it's though. Like, let's be clear.
oh my God. Oh gosh. Well, I was gonna say segueing from gender, but I don't know where we're going now.
I have 2 food questions that I ask everybody.
Yes, hit the food question.
Okay,
Okay.
my first question is, what is your favorite way to eat a potato?
Jesus.
Why does everybody hate this question?
no, I love this question. Scalloped.
Oh,
Okay.
like an au gratin.
Yes. Yes.
That's one of the more interesting answers that I've
Mhm.
gotten. A lot of people just French fries.
Don't look at me like that.
Oh.
Really good.
I forget
I
about
love
scalloped
scalloped
potatoes. Like now I want some so bad.
But they're so good because it's like I remember scalloped potatoes as like that one day that like the lunch ladies didn't have anything else, so they'd make scalloped potatoes, but they would be like the best. That's why I like them.
And then my second question is, what would be your final meal?
My final meal?
Your last meal. You're on death row. What's your last meal?
Can I have like as much as I want? Or is it just
Yeah.
like one?
It could be like the biggest meal in the world.
I'm gonna want pho. I'm gonna want some kind of pie. Probably like an apple pie. And man, bao buns.
Mm.
And one more thing. I need one more thing to top it all off. Probably spam musubi.
Mm. That's like a little bit of like acidity, a little umami. into the
Yeah.
mix.
I mean, it's not gonna make any sense in my stomach, but like, I'm gonna be gone, right?
Well,
Not now.
Not now, but
Eating this meal. This is your final meal.
all right, Tam.
oh my gosh.
I was
This is a thing on YouTube. There's a guy who
Yeah, he does
literally
it.
the
In the
mythical
Mythical Kitchen.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
just
love that
watched
guy.
Hank Green do it.
That's why I keep asking these questions. I love that guy, which I should probably give him credit.
He is awesome. What's his
But
name?
He
we're
actually,
giving him credit right now.
I don't know his name. I just know the mythical kitchen.
I used to know his name, but I forgot it. But he cooks people's final meals.
Tall guy. Got it.
I think I just saw an ad for that today, but I've never like watched it or seen that.
I'm like fully ripping his idea.
But you're not making it.
Well,
Well,
I want to put
And-
the recipes in the
well,
magazine.
yeah.
So like, I want to like showcase like a local business that supports queer people that serves pho or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Hmm.
what?
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know.
It was just so weird.
So, segueing back to like business.
You love a segue.
I love a
Like,
segue.
that's
I've
not
said
an actual
segue so many times, and it's like not a segue. It's just a way for me to like. I don't know how I'm the one like.
Why don't you just say hopping back over?
Okay, hopping back over that big old thing. I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Where? Sorry, I just need to say. Where do you like want to see yourself in like a year? Like, are you within like your crochet business and stuff? Do you have somewhere you want to see yourself? Are you just chilling and vibing, seeing what happens? What are your thoughts there?
It's a little bit of both. So I'm still chilling and vibing, but I definitely want to also get into like applique patches, because I really love sewing. I love like I said, like textile art. I used to try to make clothes whenever I first got into sewing. I did not like that. That was a little too in depth for me. But I really like the idea of like getting recycled fabrics and like scrap fabrics and like just making fun like silly like patches that you can put on things. And then also meshing crochet with sewing. I actually picked up this fabric. I went to the scrap exchange in Durham yesterday. And I actually picked up this fabric. It's like it looks like a clown tent, like a circus tent. And I was like, I'm gonna make a giraffe. I'm gonna crochet a giraffe, and I'm gonna put those little like jester collars just all down his neck. And I'm just so excited for that.
Iconic.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah.
I want to know how your brain works.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know how what?
Is that how your brain works? Is that how you would say that your brain works? Is just like a giraffe wearing clown collar?
I feel like my brain is an empty space and little guys walk in and out of it. And it's like when one's like really cool, I'm like, oh, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
Big
I'm gonna
Magic.
make this little guy.
Huh?
Oh yeah, you should read Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh,
It talks
yeah.
about creative processes and how like ideas are floating in the air and they walk by us and we just grab them. And then that's why people think that like their ideas were stolen even though that person never met you, because you didn't use the idea, so the idea left you. It floated away and it went to
somebody else. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it's like that thought that like you have a relationship with the creative process, and you kind of like, yeah, it's like you're entering a relationship. So it's like if you're like putting all the weight and you're not like pulling your weight of it, the idea will sometimes leave.
And it's also like ideas just want to be created. They don't want you to profit from them. They don't want you to be super successful and famous from them. Ideas just want to be created.
At the end of the
Yeah.
We as humans should just be creating, regardless of the outcome of it.
Yeah, well, actually, me and Gray were talking about something similar to this the other day, because Gray used to be in a band, and he was doing actually pretty well. He was doing like underground scene stuff like that, like he was really playing. But he was like, when everything stopped and when I didn't do it anymore, it was because he wasn't doing it for himself. He was doing it for like that attention, that view. And it was the same thing with me with like digital art and all the things that I was doing. I was like, I had to take a step back because I was like, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it because I feel like I need to continue it as like an income maker, money maker. But that's why like crochet is so nice, because it's like I physically can't keep these items in my home. I have a great time with them. If somebody wants to pay what they want for it, or if I just want to give it to my friend, that's what's going to happen. That's where they go. They go wherever they want.
They're not trying to like grow and boost a business and be like the greatest crochet little guy seller in the world.
Little guy seller.
That's like a resistance too to capitalism right there. Like literally just being like, you know what? Literally we are supposed to like work to the death, basically. Like work until our bones are broken and we are just here to survive. And like the fact that you actively are stepping back whenever you realize it's not for you anymore and doing something that you love. And it's probably going to like morph into something else in the future. Like you might change how you do the crochet. Just like you said, you're going to add sewing in a little bit. Like it's going to grow because you are going to grow. And that is the biggest resistance to what's going on right now, I feel like.
And that's also, I think, like you're saying, like the resistance to that, but also I think that's what makes like art, as whatever it is, whatever medium it is, appealing to people. You know, I think that like our innate like back of the mind thing, because like I'll always make digital art, I'll always paint, I'll always do something, but at this point I'm like, I don't want people to know, I don't want people to see, because I think that people, when they view things, whether or not they realize it, they know, like, was this made out of love, was this made because you thought it was cool, or was this just like, I made this, you know?
Yeah.
As a fellow like artist and like especially being in like more of like performance art these days, I know how hard it can be, you know, to like keep that line. And like when I was, you know, doing makeup full time on the internet and it became my job, I loved it until I didn't love it, because every day felt like you need to pump out something new, you need to do another look, you need to do another brand deal, you need to do this or you're not going to be able to live. So it was constantly, I'm chasing the next deal, I'm chasing the next dollar, I'm chasing this next thing. And it took years, honestly, to get back to the point where it's like now I feel like I'm doing makeup for me again. And I've worked really hard with drag and everything that we're doing now to like take those moments to step back and be like, okay, this is for me. I'm not gonna just like look a certain way on stage because that's how they want me to look. I'm not gonna do a certain thing. Like, this is my creative process. You're gonna get what you get. And it's really hard to fight that. So like I do applaud you for, you know, staying in that mindset and like keeping that in your head, because that's so crucial to like creating good art.
And that's what makes the ideas come to you. Like the little guys won't walk through your head if you're not creating them and you feel burnt out by them. They'll stop walking through your head.
They're like, dang, they don't want to hear.
But as long as you keep creating the little guys for you, the little guys will be like, hey, we gotta go over to this guy's head. This guy will make us.
Please.
Let's walk through Bree's head. We are little guys.
Little guy revolution.
I live.
Little guy revolution.
Like inside your brain, it really is just like a bunch of little guys just like...
I'm envisioning those, like, I don't know who the artist is, but there's an artist that makes very like blank looking characters. It's like Japanese, I think. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. They're like, I don't know. Insert picture, I guess.
But that artist probably also has a bunch of little guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is, little guys.
So how could Queer Lina help you? Aside from obviously we're interviewing you, and if we have vendor spots, then like we will open the floor and stuff like that. But like, how in the world can we help you?
You know, that's kind of a hard question, because I feel like y'all have already helped a lot. And I think just like being there for other people, like being there for other like queer people who are like just starting out like I am, that I think would be the best help to me and to everybody else that's involved, because I think we're kind of giving back. We're helping them, vice versa, you know? So.
Yeah.
But we've talked about such great things.
We have talked about great things.
For them.
That.
Oh, also MarsMadeCrochet.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh yeah, plug your
Very
shit.
Yes.
Plug your shit. Do you have a website? Do you have Instagram? What do you
I
want?
just have my Instagram. It's mars.made.crochet. And that's
mars.made.crochet.
I'm really glad that you spelled it, because I don't know if I could have.
What's really funny is spelling crocheted past tense, because it's
Crotcheted?
Oh, yeah, it's crotcheted.
it's weird. I don't like when I'm like, oh, I crochet or I crochet something. I don't like saying crocheted, because I don't like. No, it's a lot
when you type it.
And like another tidbit that I don't think we mentioned, I know you showed your cat, but your brand is named after your cat, Martha. Right?
Yeah, actually, so I will real quick. I will talk about my cat. My cat is an asthma warrior. He's a wheezy warrior. I got him in 2020. I was outpatient therapy. And when I got back home, they were talking to me, like my therapist and stuff. They were like, you need to get something that you can take care of. Like, you need an animal in your home that is yours. And my mom at the time was like, hell no, you're not getting a cat. And I was like, okay, and I worked at the place that shall not be named. There he goes. And my coworker was talking about how they had a cat that they had kittens with their roommate's cat, and he needed to get rid of him because he was beating the kittens. Like, he was just being horrible to them. And so I was like, I'll take your cat. Like, and I was kind of joking, but I was like kind of serious at the same time. I was like, if you want, give it to me. And he showed up at my house and gave me Mars. And I've had him for, I guess, 5 years now. But like last year, he started having like really, really bad like allergy problems that turned into asthma. And now we finally narrowed down kind of what it is. It's called like something granuloma. It's esophilus something granuloma complex. But basically his allergies are so bad that he just like flares up and he's like allergic to himself. So now I'm trying to get money saved up for him to get him on a serum treatment that will hopefully cure him. It cures some of it, but it's like $1,000 to get into it initially. So that's kind of like what I'm taking a lot of this money for.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good thing to, mention as well. So, and if you ever, want to work together in some way to raise some money, let me know. We can try to work something out. I'll DM you and we can talk more about it.
Yeah, no, I'm always down. But yeah, no, that's like a big reason why. Like, I named it after him because I love him, but also he has issues. he's like a ticking time bomb.
Well, we love Mars.
Yes.
I love him.
I will buy more little guys.
Yes.
Save Mars.
Yes. Well, I guess that is everything. It was, you think? Yeah.
We've got to figure out a non-awkward way.
A non-awkward way to end this, yes.
And
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So we can like, oh my God, thank you so much for talking.
Yeah, well, that's
much for sitting down.
And that's what I was about to say.
Oh,
You
yeah.
really cut me off. Oh. No, thank you so much for sitting down with us for real. This has been a delight. You're such a just great person to talk to, and like it's been so fun to like get in your head and like that sounded wrong. To see your brain work and talk about it.
You can scratch my brain.
Yes.
Yeah. It was good talking to you guys too. It was a good talk.
It was nice meeting you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Bye, Bree.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you all so much for watching, listening, or streaming this podcast wherever you are coming from. And if you listen to this whole thing, you're a trooper. We love you. You can find us at queerlina.org on all socials, or you can find us at www.queerlina.org and read the first issue of The Queer Vision and see this interview in volume 2.
And you can find Bree, who we just interviewed, at, one more time, MarsMadeCrochet. That's MarsMade.crochet. I said it right the first time. Whatever.
Period. And scene and cut, and we did that. Thank you.